Welcome to the Talk Like a Leader podcast, where we explore the mindset, skill set, and habit set of leadership communication. Using these tips, techniques, and tactics, you'll be able to talk like a leader to build better relationships and get more done. Your host is Guy Harris, who has more than 20 years of combined professional and military experience in consulting, coaching, and training in areas like team and interaction dynamics, communication strategies and tactics, as well as emotional intelligence. Take it away, Guy.
Hi, this is Guy Harris. Welcome to the Talk Like a Leader podcast. This week's episode is Coaching Isn't Telling, and basically it's a lesson learned the hard way. So first, I'd like for you to picture yourself in a scenario. Let's say that you're a member of my team, and I have a task to delegate to you or a project I need you to do, and I have two different ways I can approach you. One way is that I can tell you to do it and how to do it and what to do. The other way is I can approach you and ask you how to get it done, what success looks like, and various other questions like that, and leave you to solve the problem with my guidance and support, hopefully. But basically, I'm letting you solve the problem, and I'm walking with you in that solution. So let me reframe the scenario here. One way, I come to you and I just tell you what to do and how to do it. The other way is I walk with you in the solution path where you are the primary solver of the problem. And my question for you then is, given those two options for how I could approach you, or two different ways the scenario could play out, which one is most likely to feel comfortable to you? Which one are you most likely to feel good about? Which one is likely to get you to buy into the idea, embrace the solution, in fact, embrace the problem, and solve it enthusiastically? I don't know for sure what you're thinking. I'd bet that the latter approach, the approach where I walk with you towards the solution, asking you how to solve the problem, is the one that is most likely to encourage you to buy in and feel enthusiastic about the solution, preferential to me telling you what to do. Like I said, I don't know that for sure. I'm just going to guess that that's true. And I'm going to guess that that's true based on some history with my experience. If I go back to when I was in the Navy as a young officer, I remember starting down the path of just going to people and telling people what needed to be done. Now, I had the good fortune early in my leadership journey to work with some more senior people, senior enlisted members, chiefs, and first-class petty officers who took very seriously their role of mentoring a new leader so he could learn how to do things well rather than mess things up badly. And I remember a number of situations where I would go to the chief or the first-class petty officer, depending on the situation, and tell them what needed to be done or what I wanted the division to do. And I actually don't even know the number of times that this more senior person, now, by the way, they're senior in age to me, even though technically junior in rank. So they report to me even though they're older than me. It's a dynamic of the officer-senior enlisted relationship in the Navy. And so many times they would say to me something like, "Sir, I'd be happy to do it. If I was you, that's not how I would do it, though." Now, the good news is that I had my ears open enough to hear what they were telling me, and then I would ask them how they would do it, and then they would tell me, and then I would say, "Great, can you make that happen?" And things would go on, and we would get stuff done. Now, what I learned, though, this is not something that I knew immediately at the time, and I can't even point to the point in time when this became so clear to me. Eventually, though, it became clear to me that engaging people in conversation and letting them solve the problem was better than me telling them what needed to be done. Now, what's this got to do with coaching? Well, I would say that coaching a team member is really about a collaborative problem-solving effort. We have a gap between where we are and where we want to be. And that doesn't necessarily mean we're in a bad place. It just means we're not in an ideal place or a best place or an awesome place. We might actually be doing okay. We just want to get better. So coaching doesn't imply bad. Getting better is just better than where we currently are. And so basically, we're working with another person to change a piece of their behavior, to approach problems in a new way, and we're trying to coach them in a direction to get better results. Because it's a problem-solving effort, it's kind of like the delegation of a task or the giving of a project. And it's not really telling people what they need to do differently. It's helping them figure out what needs to be done differently so that they can embrace it and buy it and do it when you're not there. As I was preparing for this episode, I came across this quote in the book Influencer. And it's by the authors of Crucial Conversations. It's an interesting quote here. It says that people are capable of making enormous sacrifices when their actions are anchored in their own values. On the other hand, they'll resist compulsion on pain of death. And the interesting thing about that statement is it basically says that when people choose for themselves to do things, they can be excited about it and they'll put energy into it. And when they're told to do something, they almost instinctively resist, they said in the book, to death. Now, hopefully we don't inspire people to resist us to death. What we do want to do, though, is position ourselves in our coaching conversations about performance and asking people to change how they do things, how they approach tasks, how they interact with other people, how they manage their projects. We want them to own the solutions. And maybe one day I'll come up with a nifty little acronym for this. I haven't yet. I'll just share with you some of the questions I've learned over time that can be very helpful to engage people in a conversation and help them come to the conclusion about what needs to be done and how to move forward so that they own the solution themselves. Here are a couple of questions that are like in my hip pocket in talking with other people. Things like, so what is it we're trying to achieve here? What's the end goal look like? What are we trying to accomplish? What does a good outcome look like? Then why does it matter? Why is it important? Why do we care about this? And once we get there, what exactly does success look like? What metrics will we use to measure our success? Or how do we know that we're done? Even when do we know that we're done? Or when will we be done? So there's both a time and maybe a quality or performance measure thrown in there. Then we're going to ask questions like, what resources do we need to achieve it? What obstacles do we anticipate? And ultimately, once we've identified the resources and the obstacles and what success looks like and what we're trying to achieve, we come to, okay, how are we going to get this done? What coordination needs to happen? What communication needs to happen? What resources need to be in place at a certain time? Who is doing what? And by asking these questions of the person responsible for changing the behavior or accomplishing the task or completing the project, we allow them to solve the problem on their own so it becomes their problem. And I've mentioned before in previous podcast episodes the power of questions and the idea that if a person says it, it's likely to be true. And if you say it, it's open for debate. So I guess I'll say to this, which would you rather have? Me tell you what to do or give you a chance to figure it out on your own? I think it's probably giving you a chance to figure it out on your own. And if you can get good at asking questions and helping people to understand what needs to be achieved, what success looks like, what obstacles are likely to face, what resources they're going to need, what timeline they need to work on, whose help they need, when they're going to get it done. If you will let them make those decisions, you significantly improve the odds that they buy in. They enthusiastically pursue the change or the project or the task. And you are then talking like a leader. This has been the Talk Like a Leader podcast. You can listen to this show every week wherever you get your podcast. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'm Guy Harris, and thanks for listening.